When you're trying to solve an equation dealing with a number line, the trickiest part is trying to actually create the number line without making a mistake. When we look at the expression 3/4 plus 2/4, obviously as fifth graders, most of us can do that in our head, but the point of building a number line is to start to practice that skill, because as we get older and we go on to more difficult things, we need to know how to use that skill in case our mental math fails us. So the first thing you want to do is try to focus on being really neat and just draw a nice straight number line. Now, if I add 3/4 plus 2/4 in my head, I know that that's 5/4. When I hear 5/4, I know that that is more than one whole. So when I'm creating my number line, I'm going to start it with 0, and I know it has to be more than one whole, so if I put one whole here, that wouldn't help me. I would have to go beyond that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 wholes here. In between 0 and 2 is obviously one whole. Now this is the tricky part. You need to know how to properly break up your number line and then place the fractions in the correct spot. So if I look at my denominators, I have 3/4 and 2/4. I know that I'm dealing with fourths. So every whole from 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 needs to be broken up into fourths. The easiest way to do this is to go underneath your wholes and label what they are. So we know that 0 is going to be 0/4 if I made it into a fraction. We know that 1 whole is the same as 4/4. And then if we double that to make our second whole, we know that that would be 8/4. So now we just need to fill in the ticks in between so we can properly label it. A little trick we like to learn is if you look at your denominator, which is 4, that'll tell you you need to put one less tick in between your whole number. So if my denominator is 4, that means I need to put 3 ticks in between. If my denominator was 8, I would have to put 7 ticks in between. So since I have 4, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks in between. Okay, now the way you can check if you did this right is start labeling it. So I'm going to go 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then when I get to one whole, it should be 4/4. Now notice how everything is nice and evenly spaced out. Obviously you're not going to be perfect since you're drawing this, but you want it to be as accurate as possible. If they're not evenly spaced, then it doesn't represent what you're trying to accomplish. So we keep going from there. 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, and then 8/4. Okay, our number line is built, it is correctly labeled. Now is the easy part. We go to our starting point, which is 3/4. I'm going to draw a little dot, and then I'm just going to make a jump for every fourth that I need to add. Since I need to add 2/4, that means I'm jumping forward 2 times. So 1 jump, 2 jumps, and I land here. So my final answer, as we already knew, was 5/4, but now you're showing me that you can represent this with a number line, and then when we move on to more difficult things, you will have this skill with you.